God, everyone gonna remember my name. Big Smoke.
You know, I used to think that this was just another GTA story, another over-the-top mission, another betrayal, and just another boss fight. But watching CJ stand there after everything that he has been through, it kind of made me realize that this was a definitive warning for those who want to walk this path. For us, this meant the death of a character that ended up betraying us, but for CJ, this was the death of his old life he had back in the hood. It was the closing chapter to a book filled with violence, betrayal, and a lot of...
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Before getting into the topic of this video, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the 1,228 people that ended up subscribing. Thank you. You folks are the best, and I'm extremely thankful for you helping me reach 1K. Now, GTA San Andreas is a video game filled with jokes, over-the-top action, and satire throughout, giving it a lot more of a comedic twist in comparison to Vice City or even GTA 3. This might be a deterrent to a lot of folks who prefer gritty stories, darker atmosphere, and fleshed out characters that echo the real world. But if we take a closer look, we can see that all of this is also present in San Andreas as well. The characters, despite being filled with comedic relief, are well thought out and have memorable dialogue that makes any other GTA game except GTA 4 fall flat in comparison. Now, a while back while making the video about Niko Bellic, I asked myself who the best GTA protagonist really is. Was it Tommy, Niko, or God forbid, Claude? And despite having huge respect for Tommy and absolutely loving Niko as a character and the way he was written, my mind only thought of one man.
Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ.
Now I need to clarify what I mean by the title of this video, as I'm not talking just in terms of writing here, as if that was the case then clearly Niko Bellic would be sitting at the top overlooking everyone else, with CJ hanging on to the throne by a thin thread.
No.
What I am talking about though is his overall fit within the GTA universe itself. Niko, for instance, might be extremely flashed out, with a backstory that is really emotional and could make a grown man cry. But in terms of fitting the GTA universe, he really isn't that type of a guy. If you ask me, his writing is so good that you could easily fit him into the RDR universe and he wouldn't be out of place. He's a hard-working and fully dedicated family man that had a rough upbringing that ended up turning him to a life of crime. He's a man that rarely smiles, is methodical, and uses his military training to get on top of any situation. But despite this, he's doomed to repeat the same cycle of violence without ever being able to truly make it.
Where's luxury condo? Where's sports car? Where's Barbara with big teeth?
And no matter how hard he tries, he's left with nothing but grief and sorrow to remind him of the dark past he desperately tries to escape. On the other hand, CJ's a methodical character born into a city filled with crime, in a neighborhood that draws you into the criminal lifestyle before you are even born, setting you up for a life filled with violence even before you have the chance to say no. Carl Johnson, aka CJ, was born sometimes during the 60s, presumably in 1967. His upbringing in Canton, Los Santos was not much different than the upbringing of many other folks born around that time in a city like Los Santos. Not much is known about his father or mother except that she gets big smoke during the introduction video and is the main catalyst behind the game's story. Early on, we learned that CJ also had a brother named Brian who very well could have been adopted, with his last name being O'Connor. Now, on a serious note, Brian ended up suffering the Big Smoke treatment as well, which is what made CJ pack his bags and run away as far as possible. This led CJ to Liberty City, which became his hiding spot for the next 5 years. During these 5 years, CJ ended up doing some petty thefts, carried out some minor jobs for Joey Leone, and was living a happy life until the news about his mother made him come back to Los Santos. Despite being labeled as a buster, ridiculed, and made fun of at every possible turn, CJ sees how bad things have gotten and decides that it's worth staying to help out his brother, in hopes of protecting his family, or at least what's left of it. Now, let's be real, GTA has had a fair share of amazing protagonists over the years, with Niko, the cold and calculated Eastern European, the unhinged chaos machine in Trevor, the Scarface wannabe in Tommy Vercetti, and now the Instagram thirsty Lucia Caminos coming up in GTA 6.
Oh, that's hot.
But CJ was everything that GTA was about. He was the rags to riches storyline filled with comedic value, over-the-top characters, and a strong message about what is important and what is not.
Family.
His experience within the game is the experience of the player. The RPG elements add a lot of opportunities for everyone to incorporate their own feelings into CJ himself. This wasn't the case with other GTA protagonists, as no one really had the same level of customization nor the same level of RPG mechanics integrated into their game. Now yes, you can say that this is mostly due to the game being ahead of its time, but GTA 5 had a similar RPG system that basically did nothing. All three main protagonists in GTA 5 can upgrade their stats in the same manner like CJ can, but this really doesn't affect things that much. While with CJ, you actually felt the progression as you slowly leveled up your pistol stats, bike stats, or driving stats. All these little gameplay mechanics added depth to a character that was already very likable from the get-go. CJ's journey throughout the game escalates in a chaotic yet extremely logical GTA kind of way that somehow makes perfect sense. He starts off as a small-time crook but continues to grow with each new mission, learning to trust less, hustle harder, and eventually play things smart. And throughout all of this, he never turns into a one-dimensional, power-hungry gangster. Deep down, beneath everything, he's still Carl Johnson, a guy who gets clowned by OG Loke, and a guy who despite everything still cares about his brother Sweet and the well-being of his close friends and family. In a way, he is most similar to Dominic Toretto, except he actually could go to space himself without having to strip poor Roman or Tej onto a rocket. See, one of the biggest reasons that CJ is the best GTA protagonist is because of who he's surrounded by. As Sweet, Big Smoke, Ryder, Kendall, Caesar, and even Officer Tenpenny are characters that show CJ's multi-layered personality filled with love for his family. These characters aren't just characters or random mission givers. They are in fact pillars of both the player and CJ's world. And watching them either hold him up or drag him down is part of what makes his journey across the fictional state of San Andreas so damn personal. Now, if we take Sweet for example, we can see how him being the older brother figure that's acting as a permanent angry voicemail machine is the most important part of CJ's journey, especially as Sweet is a guy that CJ tries to prove himself to because of all the mishaps and the busting that he did previously.
Buster, straight buster.
Sweet, despite loving his brother, never cuts him any slack. In fact, he still thinks CJ's a buster for leaving even after CJ ends up making it in the business world and ends up owning multiple businesses across the entire state of San Andreas. Even after this, Sweet still calls CJ a sellout for not putting the gang first.
You never did get it, did you, Carl? I need to go check on things in the hood. Man, that's the problem. You always a perpetrator, running from what's real.
Then, if we take Big Smoke and Ryder, aka the biggest push in the world, we can see that CJ really had to navigate the minefield both in his own family as well as within his inner friend circle. Big Smoke, a now iconic character best known for the biggest order in video game history,
I'll have 2 number 9s.
is a guy that even in his final breath somehow still respected CJ in a weird way, despite selling everyone out for the money and the power.
I got caught up in the money, the power.
While Ryder, on the other hand, was just there. A character who, unlike Smoke, kind of cared for the gang and the homies, until the substance abuse ended up getting the best of him. But while CJ might have lost a lot along the way, he also ended up gaining some real allies as well. One of those guys is Caesar himself, a character that is basically like a brother to CJ, a guy who is one of the realest dudes in the entire GTA franchise, a guy that you would love to have by your side in real life. Caesar helps out CJ, stays loyal, and never once doubts his potential. Add to that the fact that CJ never once disrespects Caesar even when Sweet calls him every slur under the sun. That says a lot about what kind of a character CJ really is. And finally, we have to talk about the character that is basically the polar opposite of CJ himself. A character played so well by none other than Samuel L. Jackson, Officer Tenpenny.
Hey,
Hey, Carl Johnson, CJ.
This character is the embodiment of every corrupt system imaginable. He manipulates CJ, uses him as a pawn in his own twisted game, and turns half of Los Santos into a playground for his own power trip. But what made him the ultimate villain in CJ's world is what Tenpenny actually represented. Big Smoke and Ryder might have been secondary villains who ended up betraying CJ, but it was Tenpenny and the pulling of the strings he did behind the scenes that ultimately led to all of the events of GTA San Andreas transpiring. And what makes CJ as well as the entire story of San Andreas so special is that in the end, CJ's dedication to his family and loyalty to his cause gets him to where he always wanted to be, while Big Smoke, Ryder, and Tenpenny all end up receiving their bit of cosmic justice. Now, the main reason I've decided to make this video is the most slept on part of CJ's legacy, and that is how the game itself evolves with him. San Andreas might have been released in 2004, but it's a game that was way ahead of its time. A game that became a blueprint on what a character-driven open-world crime game should be. It was the equivalent of what RDR 2 was for me when I played it for the first time. When you start out as CJ, you're just some skinny dude in a white tank top who can barely throw a punch of any kind. You can't dive underwater for too long, you can't shoot, and you can't even run that far without CJ sounding like he just smoked 5 packs of Redwood Golds. But unlike in other games, CJ slowly evolves as you proceed to do certain actions. The gym, the shooting range, driving schools, etc. all add a lot more depth to his character and allow you as the player to progress the game at your own pace. You can spend your days boosting his stats to make him look like The Rock, or you could purposefully avoid eating or working out to have him look like Shorty from Scary Movie. And yet, whatever you decide and whichever playstyle you prefer, you always have an option to get a unique experience playing as CJ. This can't really be said for many other GTA protagonists. Hell, probably not even one of them. And this goes to prove that CJ himself is the best GTA protagonist of all time. And not because he's this masterclass of writing, even though in a way he is, or because he has that something about him which makes him perfect for a GTA game. No, CJ is the best because you as the player can easily become him. This is one of the main reasons why characters like Niko, Luis, and in a weird way even Trevor from GTA 5 all have a special place inside of players' hearts. They're all relatable family men that can smell bullshit from a mile away. Their stories might not be similar, but their attitude and general approach to problem solving makes them fan favorites. And if you say that Luis or Niko are the best GTA protagonists for you, I really won't disagree, as they both have some great traits that really make a strong counterpoint to my own claim here. But having grown up with San Andreas and having played this game so many times that I forgot the actual number, CJ stands as a character that I can always return to when I need a fix of the classic rags to riches storyline. If I had to summarize why he's the best protagonist out of all of the great ones we had, I would say that it's because CJ himself earned everything. He earned his body, his stats, clothes, cars, his safe houses, as well as all the businesses scattered throughout San Andreas. This level of character development from the player side made CJ stand out in a way that no other GTA lead has ever done. And yes, GTA 4 and GTA 5 might be more cinematic and more beautiful, with GTA 4 having some amazing grounded storytelling, but along the way, they kinda lost that connection between character and control. CJ, in a way, was the player himself. You were the one that trained him, that styled him, and earned all the progress within the game. And that connection between you and him is why after all this time, CJ is still the best GTA protagonist. With the release of GTA 6 on the horizon, and with the small snippets of certain features that we have managed to see both in the trailers and in the leaks, we can see that they seem to be going back to a system that will be a bit more similar to GTA San Andreas. If we can finally make the main protagonists look like they came straight out of OB City, then I will be an extremely happy man, especially if we couple in the jiggle physics with the added weight mechanic.
I'm too fat for this shit right now.
In the end, CJ is the Arthur Morgan of 2004. minus the redemption and the tuberculosis. He's a character that ended up redeeming himself for the things that the Swede held against him, all while rising above the filth that was weighing him down. After all was said and done, his story arc concluded with an ending that showed him finally deciding to not get his hands dirty anymore, leaving a pile of garbage slowly to rot in the same street that it dirtied up.
See you around, officer.
Anyways, what do you guys think? Who is the greatest GTA protagonist of all time? Do you agree with CJ being the perfect character for a GTA game, or do you think someone else should take the spot? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and a big thank you to all the 1,228 people that ended up subscribing. If you guys haven't already, please feel free to hit that like button and of course subscribe for a chance to win an RTX 7090 card once this channel reaches 10 million. Stay silly, keep edging, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.